Our our focus of attention is problematic implementation. Now, why do we have to bother ourselves with issues of problematic implementation? Or at most, why do we have to solve these problems? May pakialam ba tayo dapat? Well, we have to contribute to the solutions towards these problematic contracts. We have to take an active stance. Hindi talaga pwedeng we fall into the typical government stereotypes. Ano yung unang government employee stereotype? Ayan, may cartoon. Natutulog sa desk at sinasabi, oh, good thing I work for government. That's a prevailing stereotype that government employees are lazy and that when people come to their offices, our offices, most of us are sleeping. Ayaw mag-solve ng problems. Hindi pinapansin ng mga ARBs kasi tatamad-tamad. Or kung nasa Central ka, nasa SM ka, nanonood ng sine. And we have to break that stereotype because it is pervasive and it actually creates distrust. Marami sa pribadong sektor, they don't trust government employees because they already have a stereotype that we're lazy. 2 taon din po ako sa government na misalign yung spine ko kakatrabaho. Kaya masakit din sa akin pag sinasabi nila, tamad ang mga kawani ng gobyerno. O hindi mali yan. We need to solve problems and if we can solve problems, then maybe, just maybe, people will start changing their minds about this very pervasive stereotype. Next. Ayan, merong tao naghuhugas kamay. What is the stereotype? All government employees wash their hands of all responsibility. The stereotype is, ang government employee ayaw makialam kasi ayaw mag-take ng responsibility. So I ask my friends, ano daw yung mga typical government employee answer? Pag pumunta ang ARB sa opisina natin, meron daw nagsasabi, ay naku, wala kaming magagawa dyan, kontrata nyo yan. No responsibility, hands off, iiwanan na agad yung mga ARBs. That's a stereotype, and it is true for a few. I will not say for most because I still believe in government officers and employees. Next, fear. Lagi daw takot yung mga government employees. Sasabihin, naku, kontrata, maghanap na lang po kayo ng abogado. Lagi tayong nadi-disempower daw. Lagi tayong takot pag nakakita na tayo ng kontrata, iisipin na agad natin na, ay, kontrata, abogado. Why? Because there is a stereotype that contracts or anything legal should be monopolized by lawyers. But we all know that in contracts, you are guided by 3 things. The law, logic, and instinct. Siguro naman, kung hindi natin masyadong gamay ang batas, well, kaya tayo nag-workshop ng mga ganito para alamin. Pero sigurado ako, meron kayong instinct or sense of fairness. And more importantly, siguro naman meron tayong logic. So bakit tayo takot na takot kung may kontrata na? Next, that government is very, split daw tayo. Merong pwedeng mag-decide, merong hindi pwedeng mag-decide. Wala pa ang boss namin, balik na lang po kayo. Or, the more disempowering answer, sulat na lang po kayo sa secretary ng DAR. Now, I have to qualify this. There are issues that you cannot answer on your own, that you have to refer to your boss. But not all issues are like that. And we can only be confident enough to answer issues without always referring to our bosses if we study our cases. If you notice, some of you, I came to this seminar room, and I do that in every seminar. I always come to the seminar room early. Natulog dahil ko gabi kay kapoy ko. But before every session, I always study. I make my own notes even when I'm the speaker. I listen to other speakers because I always try to learn even from the participants. Why? Because I need to equip myself with enough knowledge, because only when you know what you're talking about can you actually be confident enough to give advice. kahit nung nagsimula pa lang ako sa practice, aral ako ng aral. Kasi ayoko yung magiging isang klaseng abogado ako na sasabihin ko, teka po, tanungin ko muna yung supervisor ko. If we can learn and improve on a daily basis, gawin nyo yon. So, let's talk about problematic implementation. Paano ba natin masosolve ang mga problema? One very important component, of course, is knowledge of the law. Knowledge about contracts, knowledge about the industry. Kaya, kailangan nating mag-workshop ng ganito kahit nakakapagod. The second feature is creativity. When we talk about human problems, even if they come from law, even if the cause is a contractual breach or violation ng kontrata, ang solusyon hindi lagi nanggagaling sa batas. Minsan, you even need to step out of the box and explore creative solutions. So minsan, hindi necessarily na amendment yung solusyon. Minsan may mga grupo, at meron akong isang natulungan na grupo, na yung solusyon lang pala nila ay magpalit ng liderato. Nagkakaproblema sila sa negosasyon, hindi dahil hindi klaro yung mga gusto nila, kundi feeling ng ibang grupo, hindi na-articulate ng leader nila yung gusto nila. So pagdating nila sa negotiation table, parang naku-confuse sila na parang ano nangyayari? Wala naman tayong problema dun sa offer ng company. Pero may problema pala sila dun sa sarili nilang negotiator. So creativity is very important. We need to find several ways to solve a problem. Hindi pwede yung isang ruta lang tayo lagi. Next, of course, is the very human element of problem solving, and that is empathy. When people come to our offices, we must think that these are people fighting for their lives, fighting for the right to land, the right to food, and the right to livelihood. Oo, alam ko, and after several years in the practice and working with the government, meron ding mga tao na akala nila yung problema nila, ang pinakamalaking problema sa buong mundo at dapat unahin sila. 'Di ba? Meron tayong ganyan. Hindi ma'am, dapat ito talaga imbestigahan nyo. I used to work with the Blue Ribbon at may mga tao na kahit problema sa barangay captain nila ay pinupunta sa Blue Ribbon at dapat imbestigahan daw namin. At nagagalit kasi hindi kami nag-iimbestiga. May mga ganon. So we have to deal with that. But at the end of the day, for the serious problems, empathy is very important because it will allow us to listen closely to the real issues and hopefully to actually invoke a sense of creativity para makahanap tayo ng solusyon. So these are 3 guidelines. And sana magagamit nyo to when you solve the issues that will be presented to you this morning. So, binibigyan kayo ng case study problems, di ba? Basahin nyo yan, i-discuss nyo, and your first mission is to know the problem. Ano ba talaga ang problema na kailangang isolve? Next, identify the source of the problem. Violation ba ng batas? Violation ba ng clear provision of the contract? Or is it because the contract does not say anything kaya nagkakaproblema sila? Or merong provision sa contract pero vague kaya nagkakaproblema sila? Or maybe the issue is even outside the contract where the parties don't trust someone in the other side or someone on their side. At iba pang reason ng problem. Your next guide is, can your client use the contract itself to defend his, her, or their interests? Kasi alam natin, the contract is the law between the two parties. So kung pwedeng gamitin ang kontrata mismo, gamitin ang kontrata mismo para ma-defend. Kung merong clear contractual provision na sumusuporta sa posisyon ng client nyo, gamitin nyo yon para wala na tayong problema. Pero minsan, ang problema hindi nanggagaling sa kontrata. Nanggagaling pala sa relasyon ng parties. Nanggagaling pala sa mga perceptions nila kung ano yung isang party. Abusive to, talagang he'll take advantage of me. So, dapat may ganun tayong frame. So, unang frame, know the problem. Sunod na frame, identify the source of the problem and answer whether or not there is something in the contract that can actually defend the interest of your client. Before we break out into groups, we invited a few of our friends, and ang gagawin nila is to explain actual problems they're facing when it comes to existing contract implementation. Okay?